Okay guys, so here we are. We've got what we think is a 64 Mustang sitting here, but the numbers don't lie. So we got online here, got our Mustang decoder online, kind of like our secret decoder ring for Mustangs. So we popped in all of our information here, and a lot of the little telltale indicators that we see in the car tell us it's a 64. It's badged as a 260. The engine is a 260, so you could only get the 260 V8 up through 64.5, and 65 it went to a 289. So we put in our VIN here, and according to our information, this is a 1964.5. It was made in Dearborn, Michigan. Two-door hardtop. It's a 262 barrel V8. Someone has put a 4-barrel on it, and it was number 162431. It was a two-door hardtop, standard interior. The paint was J, or Rangoon red, with a white crinkle vinyl interior with red appointments, standard interior. It was produced June 10th of 1964. It was ordered through Memphis, so that means it was sold in Arkansas or Tennessee, somewhere in here. It has a 300-to-1 conventional axle with a C4 automatic. So this is actually a for real 1964 Mustang. It was the changeover to 65 wouldn't have happened until July. So this is one of the last 64.5 Mustangs that was ever built. Within 2 weeks of being the last one, no, it was probably within a week of before we made the changeover in production to the 65. So we have a true survivor here. We're getting ready to knock it apart today and see what's hiding in there. But so far, what we can see, this thing sat in a barn for most of its life. The odometer shows less than 100,000 miles on it. The motor has oil pressure. We haven't started it yet, but we feel like that the motor is savable. So what we're going to do with this thing, yeah, we could go back and make it 100% original 64. They're not that desirable that way. I mean, maybe it is, but what we're going to do is we're going to keep all the 64, and add a little cool. So we're going to go ahead and put late model suspension on it. We're going to put disc brakes in it, but we're going to keep the 260 in there. We're going to keep the original power plant. We're going to freshen it up, put a camshaft in it, some headers, a standalone fuel injection that just bolts on, and but we're going to go back with a red metallic that as close to we can get as the Rangoon red, white interior, period correct. We're going to do it all right. I'm going to add a vintage AC unit to it so that it's actually a drivable 64. But we're going to keep it true to its roots as far as the body goes, the powertrain goes. We're just going to update the suspension, make the suspension a little cooler, make it more drivable, because these things, the brakes in these things were horrible. And the 262 barrel, when it left the factory, was like 164 horsepower. Cobalts have more power than that right now. So even though the car weighs about 2,600 pounds, we're going to go ahead and cam it up, make it a little more drivable, go through the transmission, but we're going to keep all those original parts in it. We're going to get her pumped up to about 300 horsepower where it's fun to drive, add power steering, rack and pinion, disc brakes, all the stuff to really make it cool where you want to drive it, but we're going to keep it all original powertrain. So this should be a fun build. We're looking just at like a 10-12 day build on this thing. Should be easy to do because the car's got no rust on it. I mean, it's just really a great little car. If it was a little cooler, we'd probably go back all dead stock and try to make it, if it was like the last one that rolled off the line, I wouldn't be doing this. But for right now, I think to give somebody a 64.5 that they'll get out and drive every day and have a lot of fun in it, and make it where you can get in it, drive it to California or do what you want to do. We're going to go ahead and update the suspension and make it safe and fun to drive, give it some power, but we'll retain all of the stock powertrain, just freshen it up and give it a this century feel as opposed to a last century feel. So here we go. We're going to get ready to go on it right now. Keep watching.